Good morning, everybody. I'm Penny Nelson from the Sustainable Business Council. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to our event this morning with Emmanuel Lulin from L'Oréal to talk to us about how ethics is helping L'Oréal attract 1 billion new customers. We're delighted to be partnering with L'Oréal and with Chapman Tripp, and I'm from Wellington, and I've got to say, glorious Auckland morning. I'm very pleased to be here this morning. I just would like to talk a little bit about ethics and sustainability. So we had an event last week which I think set us up really well for the discussion that we're having today. So we had Jacqueline Farman from Colmar Brunton talking to us about how consumers in New Zealand are thinking about business and some of the trends that she's starting to see come through with younger generations. And one of the things that came through very clearly is that we really are starting to be trading in a reputation economy where trust is increasingly important and people have high expectations of business. And some of the things that she talked about were businesses who are going to be successful in the longer term, which is a key element of sustainability, are very clear on their purpose and what they give back to society. They're thinking a lot about who their stakeholders are, what matters to them, and how they build trust with them. And they also are asking a really simple question about what ought we do. So I think there are lots of links between ethics and sustainable business, and looking forward to exploring that today with Emmanuel. But before we do that, I would like to introduce Martin Smith, who's the Country Manager for L'Oréal. He's the Sustainable Business Council member for L'Oréal. He was born in New Zealand and his first degree was from Auckland University, and his early career was in marketing and sales management in the FMG sector here within New Zealand. He has had 14 years overseas in a range of senior roles with L'Oréal, and in 2014 he was appointed the Executive General Manager here. And I also understand that he's a keen rugby fan, so what a year to be back in New Zealand. You've really worked that out. So Martin, welcome.
Thank you, Penny. Kia ora, welcome everyone. I guess before we kick off, I wanted to address a burning question that I know is on your mind. How can the boss of New Zealand's beauty company L'Oréal and the representative of the largest beauty company in the world have no hair? Sadly for me, I'd lost my hair before I joined L'Oréal nearly 17 years ago. So I guess you could say that the follicles had already bolted. I'm happy, however, to report that my wife says I smell wonderful, and that my skin has never looked so great. More seriously, thanks for the opportunity this morning. I'd like to thank Penny and your team and the SBC members for the fantastic work that's being done by the SBC in New Zealand. Also, a very special welcome to some of L'Oréal's stakeholders who are here. We have some of our employees, we have suppliers, we have, very importantly, some of our top customers here. And I'd also like to say a special thanks, as Penny did, to Chapman Tripp for hosting us in this wonderful facility. This morning, we're delighted to welcome to New Zealand for his very brief visit, the Senior Vice President of Ethics of L'Oréal, Mr. Emmanuel Lulin. Having the Senior Vice President of Ethics of L'Oréal in our country probably rings alarm bells for you. And it did for me when I heard he was coming. But I can assure you that Emmanuel's visit down under is an indication of the deep belief that L'Oréal has in the importance of ethics and within the way that we will run our business, and that ethics is deeply rooted in our culture. It's our shared responsibility within the wider community to have an ethical company. L'Oréal New Zealand was excited to join the Sustainable Business Council earlier this year. We are members of the Sustainable Business Council internationally, and I'm personally really proud to be amongst such esteemed companies who are on the same mission and on the sustainable road path. Before I introduce Emmanuel, I thought I'd take the opportunity to speak a little bit about L'Oreal and our sustainability goals. The Beauty for All video that you just saw showcases our purpose and our belief that beauty is truly meaningful. Research and innovation at L'Oreal has been at the heart of our business for nearly 110 years, and there's still an abundance of innovation to come in the next 100. Who knows, there may be hope yet for me regaining my hair follicles. Maybe Rodney can help me as well. L'Oreal was founded by a French scientist, a French chemist, Eugène Schuller, who invented the first synthetic hair colour. If we fast forward to today, the group employs 3,700 scientists in 26 research centres around the world. We spent last year $1.5 billion New Zealand dollars on research and development, and we've registered over 501 patents. So you could say that research and science is in our DNA. The group has a portfolio of 32 international brands, and that's probably something that many of you don't know. We generate sales of 37 billion New Zealand dollars in 2014, and we have nearly 78,000 employees. As you have heard from Penny, our objective is to attract 1 billion new customers to L'Oreal by 2020, bearing in mind that today we have more or less 1 billion consumers around the world. It took us 110 years to get those first billion, and in the next 6 years, we want another billion. So this goal will hinge on many, many things. However, we believe, as Penny said, that trust and reputation are two of the most critical enablers to enable us to gather those new consumers to our brands. You'll know that trust is earned by many, many things, including products and innovation, services, leadership, workplace, employee ethical behaviour, financial performance, citizenship, and good governance. For L'Oreal, good governance is not just compliance, and this is perhaps something that's a little bit different to what a lot of companies believe. Compliance is a set of ethical values for us that are deeply ingrained in our culture and our strategies and our decision-making process. Alongside our ambition to reach 1 billion more consumers in the next few years, our challenge is to produce more but with less impact. It means improving the sustainability of our business and our products, but also getting the consumers on board. The consumers are in fact the ones that have the largest impact on sustainability in the beauty world. Most in this room will understand that consumers have good intentions to purchase sustainably. However, their good intentions are not always followed by them walking the talk. As the largest beauty company in the world, we have an important role to play here, to become one of the leaders of the new and sustainable business model, which is ecological, responsible, and inclusive. Through sharing beauty with all, our sustainability mission, we wanted to go even further with our commitment to cover our entire value chain. Ultimately, we're on the journey to transform our group and the ways in which we innovate and we make our products. And we also want to transform the way that we communicate with our consumers and share our growth with the wider community around us. We're not perfect. There's a lot of work to do, but we're committed and we have a responsibility. Our framework has 4 clear commitments supported by targets. Firstly, innovation, so that 100% of the L'Oreal products that are manufactured have an environmental or a social improvement benefit. On production, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, in absolute terms, water consumption and waste per finished product by more than 60%. And I can tell you, although we haven't published that, we're already nearly at that milestone in 2015. And so we've set the bar even higher, and I believe that will be announced in the media shortly in New Zealand as well. On consumption, to raise consumers' awareness of the environmental and social impact of their consumption, and developing sustainably to share our growth and the benefits of our growth to employees, our suppliers, and our wider community. In today's world, a company can no longer measure its success and its sustainability exclusively through financial indicators. nor can it conduct short-term sustainable development programs that are disconnected from its business success and its long-term strategy. The two go hand in hand. We're convinced that businesses have a fundamental role to play in worldwide challenges as complex as global warming, dwindling resource, and social impact. Companies can have a positive impact, not only by their actions, but also by the chain reaction that they create, and can initiate amongst all of the stakeholders, including the consumer, competitors, and suppliers. Many other responsible industries, including some of our competitors, have made great inroads on the subject. And it's another reason why L'Oréal New Zealand wanted to join like-minded members like yourselves in the SBC. We acknowledge that we still have a lot to do. However, sustainable development at L'Oréal is fully integrated into the company's long-term strategy and its everyday management. We're on the journey like you are all as well. You may be wondering why we've invited Emmanuel on the SBC forum to talk about ethics. That's because our sustainability policy flows from our L'Oréal Code of Ethics and our ethical principles of respect, integrity, courage, and transparency. So Emmanuel Lulin, whose timely arrival from Paris on Wednesday coincided with the All Blacks bringing the World Cup home through the Auckland airport, it ensured that Emmanuel had a fantastic welcome when he came through the airport door. Emmanuel joined L'Oréal in 1999 as General Counsel for Human Resource. In 2007, he created the Office of the Group Chief Ethics Officer at L'Oréal. Emmanuel represents L'Oréal on a number of very important international organisations, including the UN Global Compact, the UN Women Institute of Business Ethics, and the ICC. And no, it's not the International Cricket Council, which I know is topical ethically today in New Zealand. We were explaining to Emmanuel yesterday about the cricket, what's the right word, challenges that are in the media. And of course, Emmanuel, being from France, first had to be briefed on what is cricket. But the point here is that Emmanuel is held in the highest regard and is truly an expert on ethics on a global basis. He's twice been recognised by Ethisphere Institute as one of the world's top ethic and compliance officers. And thanks to his work, L'Oréal has been recognised as one of the most ethical companies on the planet for 6 times by the Ethisphere Institute. So we're really delighted to have Emmanuel in New Zealand. And I'll now hand over to Penny and Emmanuel for the presentation and the discussion. Thank you very much.